Builders, we are always thinking 10 steps in front to try and make sure that we can alleviate any further issues or problems down the track. So I'm just doing a site clean here, clean my lens so you can see me a little bit better. But clean, we got these slabs down yesterday. So it's 280 square meters of townhouses, so duplex, so dual living. So we've got one house with access from this front lane, and we have got another one from that back lane. So they're pretty much the same house, mirror image. One's just got a bit of a different front style, but this is where your preparation, your planning comes into play as we're getting through these stages. So you can see these are quite high. The soil that come back on this one was quite crap. So with building, they basically do a soil test, drill a hole in the ground, they take a sample of the soil, and what that'll do is give us a reading or a report saying, for example, this one was highly reactive soil, which I think is like 50 to 80 milli movement. So when it's raining, when it's dry, the soil's doing this, moving up and down, obviously has a big effect on a stiff solid concrete slab. So it's making sure that once we understand the soil test, the engineer does the design to suit the slab. But it basically gives us all our structure and tie down and supporting structures that when we go up, we're not going to have any issues. It's going to support all the weight, and it's going to be able to handle the movement. Now, prior to this block, we cut all the grass off. Before this went down, we cut all the grass off, getting in preparation. Now, this is where it's super important to start setting up all your heights to work out how driveways are going to work, looking at things like neighbouring properties, where does water run, looking at this property, where does the water run from there, because the biggest thing with structures like this is making sure that you can have water fall away from your block. And then say, for example, you had a house where it was up the hill and you're naturally at the bottom. It's ensuring that you can get enough sufficient drainage in here to make sure that water's getting away. You're not going to have water ponding around your buildings. So some of the biggest issues come from water ponding around buildings, and having that issue, you're really going to shorten the lifespan of your structure. So just a food for thought on what we did on this one when it comes to pre-planning things. We've sort of taken the road heights from out the front. We sort of ran that to the back of the property to see how that was going to work. We've also sort of taken into account the laneway and all that sort of stuff, but we brought, prior to starting, 150 tonne of Class A fill, which is like a rock and a certain size aggregate rock with a clay. We've rolled it and packed it before any plumbing, before any power, before anything went in, purely for the fact that, one, we could get the big machinery in here, and we could also get a roller to be able to roll and compact so that we can meet the engineer's compaction rating. So they always send us when they do the soil test, they need to be able to meet a compaction rating, and if they meet the compaction rating, then the engineer is happy with supplying us all the engineered details. So we built this ground up about 200 mil, which was about 150 tonne of dirt. So that brought us base level with a lot of these properties on the side here, and then we bring this slab up another 400 mil or 385 this was. So you can quite clearly see that now any water and rain and whatever runoff from this yard in the back is not going to be sitting around the structure. We're going to have adequate fall. All the stormwater connects out to the front road, or to the road both sides. So it's making sure that now when it rains, it's really going to benefit this structure, making sure the waters are running away. We're not causing issues, because the last thing you want is this to be 200 mil lower. Then you're going to start to have water issues with next door, water running constantly to the building, and it is just not ideal. So builders come into play. We're always thinking 10 steps down the road, and the idea of a good builder is making sure that they can think about all these things for you and advise you when you're going through the build process, but also making sure that there's no mistakes that happen, and they can advise you early on, or they can keep an eye on whether it's subcontractors, whether it's getting heights right, all that sort of stuff. That's where we play a big part in these things, because it's the little things that get thought about along the way that make the biggest difference throughout a build. So.